As Gomer Pyle would say, surprise, surprise, surprise. We're talking about Penn State off a loss against another top 10 opponent. What a shock. I am Ralph Michaels. This is Wager Talk TV, and I am breaking down Penn State at UCLA. Well, it seems like an old story at Penn State. You're a good bully. You cover against teams that are inferior. You play a good opponent, especially a top 10, and you find a way to lose the game, this time in overtime. Penn State now a 24-point favorite in the Rose Bowl, total anywhere between 49 and 50. So make sure you shop the total, especially as you can get the best of both sides, depending which way you're going to go. Well, let's talk about Penn State. You want to talk about a team that's played a weak schedule. You beat Nevada by 35. You beat FIU 34-0. You beat Villanova 52-6. And your stats, your season to grade are absolutely awesome. Problem is, it didn't prepare you to play Oregon. In that Oregon game, we saw a Penn State team that was mauled early. In fact, at halftime, they had 69 yards at halftime. They ended up with 276. Couple late drives got them to overtime. Each team scores in overtime, and then Drew Aller does what Drew Aller does, make a mistake in a big game against a top-ranked team. Aller now only 63% on the season. And again, remember those first three opponents I said. They were massive favorites in all of them. Only a 6.8 YPA. If you're not throwing the ball downfield, you're not going to get any margin. There you have three receivers with more than 10 catches. They're averaging 12.1, 11.1, and 10.8 yards per carry. That's pitiful. You're only rushing for 180 yards per game. You are rushing for 5.1, but again, against FIU and Villanova, you had 450 yards rushing, averaging 6.4 yards per carry. Very fake stats. Last week against Oregon, they now, after that loss, what has James Franklin done after a loss as a favorite at Penn State? Well, he got here in 2014. If he loses a game as a favorite, coaching the Nittany Lions, he's gone 1-10 with 2 pushes, 9%. When he's off a loss against a top 10 team, he has gone 22% against the spread and also 5-13 over under. So while he's a bully, he has not bounced back well after those bubble bursting defeats. In UCLA, we see a team that's 0-4. You got mauled against Utah, outgained by 272 yards, you lose 43-10. You go to UNLV, you have a yardage edge, but you are minus 2 turnovers and find a way to lose that game. You were down big early. You fought back to make the game close, but it wasn't even that close. Then you're home against New Mexico. New Mexico, you're a huge favorite. You get outgained by 124 yards. You win the turnover battle, and you still lose 35-10. Then they go to Northwestern, make the coaching change. Tim Skipper is now the interim. What do? Yeah, you basically, the yards were even. You only got outgained by 4 yards, but you find a way to lose. You're down early against 17-3. You fight back. You lose 17-14. Now, when you look at stat profiles for these teams, UCLA, ugly across the board. But one thing I want to point out, UCLA, no hurry at all. They know they're their inferior team. They know they are outmatched. So what do? They run the ball. They run the ball. They run the ball. They take time off the clock, and they're never in a hurry to snap that ball until they get to the fourth quarter if they're way behind. UCLA is averaging 58.8 plays per game. That is number 130 of the FBS teams. Penn State, number 77 in plays per game, but only number 103 in time of possession. I said Penn State's stats look great. Well, folks, there are 136 teams in the FBS. Penn State's strength of schedule is number 168. How can that be with 136 teams? This strength of schedule includes all the FCS teams, so there are at least 30 FCS teams that have played a tougher schedule than the Penn State Nittany Lions. So their defensive numbers are great. Their offensive numbers are solid. They're number 33 in yards per game differential, but again, against that schedule, it means very little. UCLA is minus 80.5 yards per game and minus 0.8 yards per play. That's not horrible. It's 117th, but they've played the number 35 schedule. Again, strength of schedule, massive edge to UCLA. With this Penn State offense and Aller just not up to snuff, I expect Penn State to run the ball often. They ran the ball 35 times against Oregon, passed only 25 times. When you look at UCLA last week, they ran the ball 29 times, passed 28. That was on the road against Northwestern. I expect them to run the ball even more. Two slow-paced teams. Penn State off that embarrassing loss. When they bounce back, 5-13 over-under after losing to a top 10 AP team. UCLA's offense, 10 points, 23 points, 10 points, and 14 points, averaging only 14 points per game and 321 yards per game. Penn State's wanting to get their feet wet, playing their first road game of the season. UCLA back in front of their, I don't know, maybe 2,000 or 3,000 home fans. You probably have about 80,000 empty seats in the Rose Bowl with 20,000 being Penn State fans and 2,000 being UCLA fans. So it's probably a negative home field edge for them. But again, you still have an interim head coach coaching his first team in front of the home fans. I think they try to establish the run early. If it doesn't work, they'll let Nico pass the ball. Penn State, again, Drew Aller off that mistake. I think you start running the ball. Keaton Allen, 327 yards, 7.1. You have that type of weapon, you want to use them. I like under for the game, but I actually like under first half more. If UCLA falls behind, they will start pressing the pace. They will pass the ball more. That may lead to more mistakes. Nico, 65%, 6.4 YPA. Again, horrible with a 4-3 ratio. Best bet for the video here, under first half, lean full game first half, as there's no way in heck I'm going to lay over 3 touchdowns with this Penn State team on the road playing their first road game of the season off that top 10 defeat. Guys, my college football 5% are 9-1, 90%. I have a 5% college football play for Friday. Grab it now, wt.buzz/RM. The Weekend Warrior, number 2 in college football the last 2 years, number 2 in college football in the NFL combined the last 2 years. NFL teasers rated 4% and higher, 9-1, 90%, and 16-2, 89%. For me, with the 5% on Friday, the 3-day all access for $69, clearly your best bargain. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, all of my plays, all 3 days, $69. The 5% on Friday, $35 by itself, just $34 more. Get you the rest of Friday, all of Saturday, and all of Sunday. Follow me on Twitter at CalSportsLV. Hit that like button. Make sure you're following Wager Talk on all their social media networks. And please leave a comment. But most importantly, thank you for taking time out of your busy day to watch this video. I'll be back next week. Have a great weekend of college football.